Hey everyone, Lisa here. This is Interdimensional 5D, but we're not going to be talking about the dream time tonight. I'm reading from this journal, and this will probably be the last time I really go through this journal with you. It's out there on eBay. I will put a link in the description box if I can get all my stuff to work. It's been out for auction before, but we all know I've got friends in high places that try to keep me from functioning, and they're doing a pretty good job, I gotta tell you. They're doing a very good job, and I'm tired of it, but we're not going to dwell on that fact. Now, I'm going to read some and then call it good, and then this will be the last time you see this journal. It does need to go into somebody's hands who can take care of it. It has been abused. It was in storage, yet I had neighbors go through my house when I lived in Kansas, and they damaged anything they thought was would be profitable or something that I valued and cherished. They have pretty much obliterated everything I've owned. A lot of my artwork is gone. A lot of my private personal papers have been disrupted. But anyway, this is how it's been left. It needs to go in hands. It's starting to come apart, and there really is no reason for it to be in the condition it is, other than people were just being mean. Anyway, the disappearing dime. Provide yourself with a piece of India rubber cord about 12 inches long and a dime with a hole on the edge. And then it's a long, lengthy description, and I'm not going to go into that. It's basically, a trick. Artificial fireballs. Put 30 grains of phosphorus into a bottle which contains 3 or 4 ounces of water. Place the vessel over a lamp and give it a boiling heat. Balls of fire will soon be seen to issue from the water, attended with the most beautiful eoroscations. To look that word up. Substitute for fire. Put into a cup a lump of quicklime, fresh from the kiln. Pour water upon it, and the heat will be very great. A pail full of quicklime, if dipped in water and shut closely into a box constructed for the purpose, will give out sufficient heat to warm a room, even in very cold weather. This is the source of steam vapor in theatrical representations. There's a nice bit of information to know. To tell if a lady is in love, put into a vial some sulfuric ether, color it red with orchenet, and then saturate the tincture with spermaceti. This preparation is solid at 10 degrees above the freezing point and melts and boils at 20 degrees. Place the vial which contains it in a lady's hands and tell her that, if in love, the solid mass will dissolve. In a few minutes, the substance will become fluid. To put an egg in a bottle, soak the egg in strong vinegar until its shell becomes soft. When it may be extended lengthwise without breaking, then put it through the neck of a small bottle, and by pouring cold water upon it, will speedily reassume its form of figure and hardness. Should the vinegar not be strong enough to soften the shell, sufficiently add a little strong acetic acid. To one not acquainted with this trick, it's inexplicable. To subtract 45 from 45 and leave 45 as a remainder, see below. And then there's the equation, if you want to look at it. Spontaneous combustion. Mix a small quantity of chloride of potassium with spirits of wine. In a strong saucer, add a little sulfuric acid, and an orange vapor will arise and burst into flame with a loud crackling sound. Throw a small piece of potassium into a basin of water, and it will swim upon the surface and burn with a beautiful flame. Magic inks. Dissolve oxide of cobalt in acetic acid, to which add a little nitrate. Write with this solution. Hold the writing to the fire, and it will be a pale rose color, which will again disappear on cooling. Dissolve equal parts of sulfate of copper and muriate of ammonia in water. Write with the solution, and when dry, hold to the fire, the warmth of which will bring out the writing, which will again disappear on becoming cold. Dissolve in water a few grains of prussiate of potash. Write with this liquid, which is invisible when dry. Wash over with a dilute solution of iron made by dissolving a nail in a little aquafortis. A blue and legible writing is immediately apparent. Those might be good to know. I might have to write that down. Hold a red rose over the blue flame of a common match, and the color will be discharged wherever the fumes touch the leaves of the flower, so as to render them beautifully variegated or entirely white. If it be then dipped into water, the redness after a time will be restored. That's interesting. Domestic ginger beer. 2 gallons of ginger beer may be made as follows. Put 2 gallons of cold water into a pot upon the fire. Add to it 2 ounces of good ginger and 2 pounds of white or brown sugar. Let all this come to the boil and continue boiling for half an hour. Then skim the liquor and pour it into a jar or tub, along with 1 sliced lemon and half an ounce of cream of tartar. When nearly cold, put a teacupful of yeast to cause the liquor to work. The beer is now made, and after it has worked for 2 days, strain it and bottle for use. Tie the cords down firmly. Doesn't sound too hard. Curing meat. The following recipe is said to be among the best, if not the very best. Take 1 gallon of water, 1.5 pounds of salt, ½ pound of sugar, ½ ounce of saltpeter, ½ ounce of potash. Boil together until all the dirt from the sugar rises to the top and is skimmed off. Then throw it in a tub to cool. And when cold, pour it over your beef or pork and let it remain 4 or 5 weeks. The meat must be well covered with pickle and should not be put down for at least 2 days after killing, during which time it should be slightly sprinkled with saltpeter. Resuscitation of the drowned. As soon as the body is removed from the water, press the chest suddenly and forcibly downward and backward, and instantly discontinue the pressure. Repeat this without intermission until a pair of common bellows can be procured. When obtained, introduce the nozzle well upon the base of the tongue. Surround the mouth with a towel or handkerchief and close it. Direct a bystander to press firmly on the projecting part of the neck called the Adam's apple and use the bellows actively. Then press upon the chest to expel the air from the lungs, to imitate natural breathing. Continue this an hour at least until signs of natural breathing come on. Wrap the body in a warm blanket and place it near the fire, and do everything to preserve the natural warmth as well as to impart artificial heat if possible. Everything, however, is secondary to inflating the lungs. Send for medical aid immediately. Avoid all friction until respiration shall be in some degree established. Excellent cement. 5 years ago, we applied a cement compound to white lead paint, whiting, and dry white sand to a small tin roof that leaked like a sieve. It soon became nearly as hard as stone, has never scaled off, and has kept the roof since then perfectly tight. It was put on about the consistency of thin putty. The cement is excellent for filling up cracks in exposed parts of brick buildings, pointing up the base of chimneys where they project through the roof of houses, stopping up seams in the roofs of buildings, closing cracks in cellar floors and walls. White lead and sand without the whiting also makes an excellent cement for seams and cracks. White lead paint, whiting, and dry white sand. It doesn't say like how much of anything to use. That's all it says on that. Peach pickles. One of the most delicious pickles ever tasted is made from ripe clingstone peaches. Take 1 gallon of good vinegar and add it to 4 pounds of brown sugar. Boil this for a few minutes and skim off any scum that may rise. Then take clingstone peaches that are fully ripe, rub them with a flannel cloth to remove the down upon them, and stick 3 or 4 cloves in each. Put them into a glass or earthen vessel and pour the liquor upon them boiling hot. Cover them up and let them stand in a cool place for a week or 10 days. Then pour off the liquor and boil it as before, after which return it boiling to the peaches, which should be carefully covered up and stored away for future use. Cure for lockjaw. We have noticed lately, says the Lancaster Gazette, accounts of a number of deaths by this disease, which induces us to republish a positive, preventative, and remedy for this disease. It is the simple application of beef's gall to the wound. Besides its antispasmodic properties, the gall draws from the wound any particles of wood, glass, iron, or other substances that may cause irritation when other applications have failed. Bed bugs. Bed bugs are effectually destroyed by washing infected places with a decoction of common smartweed or water pepper, called by botanists as Polygonum punctatum, P-O-L-O-G-O-N-U-M, Punctatum. Pour a pint of boiling water on a pint of the weed. Cover it up and let it cool. The liquor may be put on with a brush. The plant itself may be stuffed in cracks or corners. Water pepper, smartweed, never heard of it. Don't even know what it looks like. Prevention of infection from typhus fever. The London Weekly Dispatch says Dr. J.C. Smith obtained £5,000 from Parliament for the following recipe. Take 6 drachms of powdered nitrate, saltpeter, and 6 drachms of sulfuric acid, oil of vitriol. Mix them in a teacup by adding 1 drachm of the oil at a time. A copious discharge of nitrous acid gas will take place. The cup to be placed during the preparation on a hot hearth or a plate of heated iron, and the mixture stirred with a tobacco pipe. The quantity of gas may be regulated by lessening or increasing the quantity of ingredients. The above is for a moderate-sized room. Half the quantity would be sufficient for a small room. Avoid as much as possible breathing the gas when it first rises from the vessel. No injury to the lungs will happen when the air is impregnated with the gas, which is called nitric acid gas, and it cannot be too widely known that it possesses the property of preventing the spread of the fever. If builders filled up the spaces between every wall and flooring with sea sand, no fire could communicate from one apartment to another. The staircases, if constructed of iron on the geometrical principle, would prove non-conductors. Space would be economized and the chamber enlarged. Balconies running from houses to house on every floor are the most desirable of all fire escapes. I don't know what that has to do with the typhus fever thing. The proper time for reaping wheat. From a very careful series of experiments made in England in 1840 and 41, Mr. John Hannam of Yorkshire, with the view of determining the proper period of reaping wheat, it was decided that the best time for performing the operation is when it is in a raw state, or when the straw, as seen from a distance, appears green, but closely examined is found to be approximating to yellow, and the grain itself, being separate from the chaff, is pulpy and soft, but not in the milky stage. This gentleman has shown that at least $6 per acre are lost by allowing the wheat to become ripe before it is cut, and that at the same time its quality is not so good. The chief advantages derived from this method are stated to be greater weight of grain to a given space of ground, which produces more flour of a superior quality. The straw contains more nutritive matter and is better relished by animals, and there is a better opportunity of securing the crop and a saving in doing so, as there is less waste in moving or reaping the wheat by the dropping out of the seeds. Like all other operations in the vegetable economy, the ripening of the seed consists entirely of various chemical processes, the nature of which need not be explained here, but the results should be carefully considered in order to arrive at the conclusion as to the modifying influences of different modes of culture. When an ear of wheat first fills it, appears almost entirely composed of substances resembling milk. In about a week or 10 days after this, if we examine the crop, we shall find that the seed much more solid, the milky juice having hardened and consolidated, and the straw having begun to wither, which it always does from the ground to the ear. At this period the straw will be yellow, for about a foot above the ground. In another week or 10 days the crop will be perfectly ripe. That is to say, the straw will be uniformly yellow up to the ear, and the chaff will be sufficiently loose to admit the grain being rubbed out by the hands. On examining the ear, the most perceptible difference which has taken place since the last period will be that the skin will have become much thicker and harder, while the flour will be diminished in quantity. Now this is the important point, namely that the last change in the seed is an excess of bran and a relatively diminution of flour, which change increases materially according to the length of time which elapses between the ripening and the harvesting of the crop. From the above it would appear, then, that it is the farmer's interest to cut his wheat before it becomes thoroughly ripe. And that's a patent office report. Cure for earaches. The most effectual remedy yet discovered has been a small clove of garlic, steeped for a few minutes in warm salad oil and put into the ear, rolled up in muslin or thin linen. In some time the garlic is reduced to a pulp, and having accomplished its object should be replaced with cotton to prevent the patient taking cold. Now these are very hard to read. Hold this, see if you could. I'll give it a whirl. It's a brown ointment, an ophthalmic ointment, eye salve or eye balsam. Take of fresh butter 3 ounces, white wax a half an inch, I think it says reed precipitate 2.5 drams, or red. It looks like REED. Prepared tatty or tutty, and that's 1 dram, and camphor dissolved in olive oil, 1 dram. Melt the first 2 articles. When nearly cool, stir in other finely pulverized. Green salve. Take of turpentine, 1/2 pound, bayberry tallow, 1/2 pound. Dissolve together and form into salve. Add sweet oil if necessary. This salve is used for some kind of ulcers. I can't read that word. Sacrophallus ulcers. A yellow salve, and that's spelled YALOW. Take 1 bushel of the root, Baptisia tinctoria, or wild indigo weed, boil till the strength is out, then strain, boil and skim, add 10 pounds of fresh butter, 3 pounds of beeswax, and 1.5 pounds of mutton tallow. Then boil the water out and strain. till clear, all clear. Recipe for French sizing. Recipe to make, what is this? White something water. Recipe for making cider vinegar. Remedy for small pack. I'm figuring this POC. Sulfate of zinc. Fits cured. Spearmint. Fits cured. Speedy. Permanent indigestion liver complaint. Let's see, we got chamomile blossoms, the water pepper, blue vervain leaves, and the best Irish whiskey, 1 gallon. We can't go wrong with the Irish whiskey. I'm not going to even try to read it all. Cure for grapes and chicken. Gapes. Cure for gapes and chickens. Dissolve in water as much soda as it will take up. Then stir in your meal or feed. I use corn and oats ground together until it is thick enough, and give your chickens all they will eat. This is a sure cure, if taken before they are too far gone. I have tried it successfully, and so have a number of others. Last year I fed in this way once a week and saw no sign of the gapes. I don't know what gapes is for chickens. Rock cream. Wash a teacupful of the best rice, boil slowly until quite soft in new milk. Add white sugar to taste, then pile it on a dish. Lay on in different places lumps of jelly or thick preserved fruits. Beat the whites of 5 eggs to a stiff froth with a little sugar and flavoring. When well beaten, add a tablespoon of rich cream and drop it over the rice, imitating the form of a rock of snow. Lily white. A ½ ounce of glycerin, a ½ pint of rose water, a ½ ounce of prepared chalk, a ½ ounce of flake white. Shake well and apply. 3/8 mixture. 8 ounces of syrup of sarsaparilla, 8 grams of iodide potash, and 8 grams of iodine. 3/8. Put all together and shake up well, and it is ready for use. Dose. 1 teaspoonful 3 times a day after meals. Iodide, potash, and iodine. Greens, horse powders. 1 pound of fenugreek, 2 ounces of saltpeter, 2 ounces of rosin, 2 ounces of something tartar, 2 ounces of skunk's cabbage, 2 ounces of black antimony. Pulverize thoroughly. Directions: tablespoonful twice a day. Liniment for rheumatism, horse colic remedy. We got lemonade, 1 pound of brown sugar, ½ ounce of tartaric acid, and 3 tablespoons yeast. It says lemonade. I don't see any lemons in there though. Liniment. Oh, there's laudanum in here. Caspicium. Alcohol, linseed oil, gum camphor. Spavin liniment. Transparent soap. Dropsy cure. Kidney disease cure. A tea made of peach leaves is a sure cure for a kidney difficulty. There it is, folks, peach leaves. Liver, something for the liver. There's some berries. I can't read some of this stuff, folks. There's a diarrhea remedy, rheumatism listed, horse powder, hair tonic, smallpox remedy, tooth wash. Dissolve 2 ounces of borax in 3 pints of water before quite cold. Add 1 teaspoonful of tincture of myrrh and 1 tablespoon spirits of camphor. Bottle and mix for use. 1 wine glass full of the solution added to half a pint of tepid water as sufficient for each application. The solution used daily preserves and beautifies the teeth, excoriates tartary additions, produces a pearl-like whiteness, arrests decay, and induces a healthy action to the gums. Now I have to say, I mix borax with baking soda, cinnamon, and some vitamin C, and I make my own tooth powder. I don't use toothpaste. So it's interesting here that they have 2 ounces of borax. And it's really interesting. If I use toothpaste, I get the worst breath in the world. Like, bar none. It's horrifying. And when I switch to borax and baking soda, I do not have bad breath anymore. Now, my ex used to put stuff in my water, and I was drinking poisons for a while and wasn't aware of it. And whatever he did, though, caused to me to have issues with my gums separating away from my teeth. So I've been trying to drink a lot of water and see if just eating the right fats and stuff could help that. There's a consumption cure, tooth powder, rheumatism cure, and I think I'm going to leave it there. It goes on, distress or irregularity, remedying for falling. I don't know how you can remedy falling. Washington cologne, a cancer cure. Let's see, what's the cancer cure? Bathe freely at least once a day with sweet spirits. I don't know what sweet spirits are, and then they do have, there was a place where they had their money listed, but there's some in the back. But it looks like that got Dan Crow. CROWE. I didn't even know this had a name in it. In account with Johnny. There's a little bit of cash counts, but not a whole lot. And that's really the end of the book. I'm going to end it here. And there it is, the 1856 journal. I have the opening bid, $198, which I think is reasonable. And I'm going to share with you a little bit of what I'm doing other than that. I made a new card for my Boom Boom deck. It's the Trump card. So it's like, if this card comes out, you win. It's the Trump. Like, you got trumped. After all, nobody thought he was going to win, but he did. He was trumped. I'm going to put this away. And look, I'm working on some Warhammer stuff. I started to put together some little pieces of this little guy. I'm going to paint him and then put him up for display in the Warhammer shop. They invited me to do it, and what the heck? I've never done anything like this, and my big old fingers have a hard time with it. So we're giving that a whirl. Anyway, hope everybody's doing okay. Spirit told me no more spirit talk today. There's things going on, and we're just listening. We're just listening in. So you all have a good day. Be well, my friends. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed the book. Bye now.